this galaxy, there's a mathematical probability of 3 million Earth-type planets. And all of them, there's 3 million galaxies like this. And all of that, perhaps more. Only one of each of us.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Van Philosophy. Thank you for joining us here tonight. As we discuss Kyle's amazing intellect on black holes.
You ready to learn something?
I don't read.
I don't read.
But before we do, we're going to talk about what we've got going on, and we do have some shows coming. We have an Unplugged show coming up this weekend.
You know, we were
So
talking
that's important.
about that, how it's like, it's unplugged. But we do
It's-
we do electronic music, so it's like, it's not really unplugged.
Well, I'm unplugged.
You're unplugged.
I'm unplugged.
Yeah.
Like, I've got the...
An acoustic kit.
It's like a cajon thing with like a snare and a hi-hat. With some like with mics and cool reverb on it.
Yeah. So the mics are plugged in.
Mics are plugged in.
And my piano's going to be plugged in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like we're not going to carry like a grand or something
That would be...
stressful.
That would be really stressful.
It wouldn't be worth
bad.
it.
I know. I think most people, like when they have to have a grand piano at their show, like it's brought in.
Right.
Like,
They'll have it before.
I don't think I've ever met anyone that were like, yeah, we carry a grand piano.
Well, yeah, unless it's like Lady Gaga.
Yeah, but I think she could get someone to find.
I don't
her a
think
grand
she
piano.
carries it in.
She carries it in.
That'd be cool.
With one arm.
Yeah. If you're out there watching, let us know. You can bring it in with one arm. But no, we've got that coming up in Dahlonega this Saturday. Play in the parking lot, kind of right off the square there. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Bring a lawn chair.
Bring a lawn chair.
They have
chairs.
They've been putting out more chairs
Yeah.
and tables.
Yeah.
Because I remember before it was like there was 2 tables and you had to bring your own chairs.
Right.
But now, last time there was a good bit.
Yeah.
But maybe bring a lawn. Just have it in your car.
Yeah.
You should have one in your trunk.
Yeah. I mean, we live in the mountains.
You ever want to stop and chill out somewhere?
Yeah.
Just take
That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do. But before that, what have you got going on? What have you been going on? What's been going on with you, Kyle? This week.
Well,
This just within that amount of time.
oh, just a couple days.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've had more Patreon requests come in.
Yeah.
And I think we've decided.
Yeah.
And I got my
Reviewed them.
So we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah.
But I think that'll turn out pretty cool. We'll have to still kind of get our ideas together on
Right.
it. But, and yeah, acoustic, unplugged shows coming up.
Yeah. Okay.
And
what else? What else have you been doing?
I
mean, have you been just being lazy? Have you actually done things?
I haven't been lazy. I've had like a few carpentry projects this week.
Yeah.
That I've been doing, and it's actually been kind of like longer days than normal.
Right. Is that why you came in shorts?
Yeah, man. I'm like, today's all about being comfy.
Right. It's a comfy day.
But it's been pretty decent weather.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been so bad.
Decent, but it's hot today.
And it's supposed to get hotter.
And it's also hot.
It's supposed to get hot too.
Yeah. It's gonna be so hot. Yeah. Yeah.
What have you been up to?
I pulled a muscle over the weekend from the shows that we did. We went to Anderson and Chattanooga. It was in Anderson right before we went on. Because we were scrunching in, because we kind of sat back on the stage.
And we were like, we can just move all of this at once.
And I bent over and grabbed the rack, because you had the kick drum. We were trying to move the whole
Scooting
drum
it over.
set.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah! And then, but I went through the whole show because, like adrenaline kicks in and you just don't care.
Yeah, you don't feel it till later.
Yeah, and then when we got in the car, once we were done, I was like, oh my God, I'm broken.
That's the worst, is like,
Yeah.
you pull something, and you're like, I'm fine. You sit in the car for a while,
Yeah.
and you get out, and you're like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, doing stuff at the shop, got some cool orders. I told you, like, I'm going to try to take Kyle. Kyle hasn't even been there yet.
I'm going to try to swing by on my way home.
Yeah, so he's going to come with me because I got to go back there after we're done with this to build another arcade cabinet. So we're putting in a few arcade. It'll be like 4 arcade cabinets that we'll have in there now. Which is cool.
So what do you have in there?
It's Mortal Kombat, and you've got like a selection of a few of them. And then there's the Simpsons game, which has the Simpsons side scroller. It's the 4-player thing, and it has like bowling, Simpsons bowling, right?
Simpsons bowling?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I
I remember
remember
the
either.
side scroller one.
I'm not that excited about the Simpsons cabinet.
But the side scroller one was cool.
The side scroller is a cool game. Like where you're Marge with like the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, and Bart has it. He has got a skateboard. And he's like
Yeah,
whacking
yeah.
That was a cool game.
And then we just got built today. It's like a retro cabinet, so it's like Pac-Man, Galaga, Dig Dug, and all those in a cabinet. But it's like a Pac-Man cabinet. Like it looks like Pac-Man. And then the one that needs to be built is the X-Men side scroller, the 4-player.
That was a cool game.
Yeah, it was very cool, and it also has like the Captain America games in it.
I was just gonna ask. I thought I remember. It said X-Men, but you could be Captain America or Iron Man. I
Right.
thought too.
Yeah.
It's like a Marvel.
Yeah.
Thing. I remember that, and he'd be like, "Leave it to me," and he'd
Yeah.
come in. I remember that game. That game was awesome.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I had not set up my drum set. I literally, I was just telling you, here, like the subs were sitting there from like when we went out.
You're like, "I'll do that tomorrow."
I literally just did it like
You're
right
like,
before
nah.
you got here. But the shows did go well. What do you think?
Chattanooga was killer.
Yeah, Chattanooga
That
was
felt
a lot of fun.
so good.
Yeah.
I love that place.
Well, there was like some, like, I think there was just like that magic moment. So I talked about it a little bit in the blog, man. Like, it's like there's this magic moment where there was this connection between the crowd and us, and there was something happening, and we saw a lot of old friends. We saw some new friends. We saw some medium friends. We saw some small friends.
Middle-aged friends.
Middle-aged friends. Young friends.
New friends, old friends.
Elderly friends. We saw them.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was a good time. I thought it went well. And then Anderson was cool. Anderson's like more of that kind of club vibe, so that was cool. It was nice. Nice to be out. I know
That one guy up front was hilarious.
Yeah, one guy, dude, he was real into it. I think one of our friends got a
Man,
video.
do that again!
Yeah. One of our friends got like a video of him somewhere on Facebook. I don't know if you saw that or not. But like he's like
Oh, I didn't see that.
dancing.
Yeah, he was a trip.
It was good
He
stuff.
made the night for sure.
He did. But we do have some more full shows coming up at the beginning of next month. We're going to be going to Florence and Anderson. Not Anderson, Savannah.
Savannah.
We were just in Anderson.
We were just in Anderson.
But yeah, so we're going to be in Florence and Savannah coming up here soon. I haven't been to Savannah in a while. I mean, I went there on a little vacation, but I didn't really stop in Savannah. I went to Tybee. But
That's what we do too.
Yeah.
It's like, we're in Savannah. Be like, we're just going to hang out in Tybee.
I wanted to go to Savannah. They have that serial killer museum where they have John Wayne Gacy's clown costume, and I want to see it. Take pictures of it, share it on a vlog or something like we did.
Why is it? Was he in Savannah?
I don't know why they have it. I don't know why they have it.
Just the highest bidder, I guess.
Maybe, yeah, and they have like a museum because like Savannah like has a lot of like ghost tours and things like that there. So
a lot of the like southern coastal towns, because doesn't
Yeah.
Charleston do it too?
I think so.
Like
yeah.
ghost, it's like a thing. It's like a
Well,
southern,
especially-
southern coast thing.
Well, yeah, especially over here on the East Coast because that's where they have the oldest history. That's where all the earlier settlements and stuff were. So you're gonna get all kinds of like crazy shit. It's a whole thing.
I always wondered, like, are there new ghosts?
I don't know.
Like, can't you be haunted by like
think that's-
someone that died like last week?
I think that's actually like probably the reason why Wi-Fi was invented.
Yeah,
Because it's actually the frequency keeps the ghosts at bay.
maybe, and that's why there's no like real new. It's always like some old child.
I don't
from
know
the-
if you
from the
follow-
1850s.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
followed the Pentaveret, but like it was their plan all along with the internet. Really, is to keep All the ghosts.
It like emits a sound that only the ghosts can hear.
Right. And they're like, oh!
It's the thing you put in your garden to keep the mice away.
Yeah. Little light goes off. All right. So that's what we've been doing. That's what we've got coming up. Let's talk about black holes and not buttholes.
Yeah. All right, we gotta get all the
it out.
Get all the immaturity out.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think it's gonna get out that fast. But let's keep going.
A black hole is a region of space that has a gravitational field that is so intense that no matter or radiation can escape.
Yeah.
I remember having it explained to me that it was a region where all matter is compressed into an infinitely small space. Which is what seems like happens, but there's actually some theories that suggest that that's actually not what's happening, which we'll probably get into a little later.
Right.
But for what we know, it's a place in space where light or matter cannot escape its gravitational field.
Right.
And basically, what that means is you would have to be traveling faster than the speed of light to escape its gravity, which Einstein says you can't do. And that, like in 1916 is when it was first theorized by Einstein. He went, if, a star implodes and gets heavier and heavier and heavier, once its gravitational field is too strong for light to escape. And that's what he would call a black hole.
Well, that's what's interesting too. Is like all black holes, from my understanding. Again, I'm not. I just
astrophysicist.
I just read stuff or watch videos. But from my understanding, black holes, the majority of what you're going to find, they're in the center of galaxies, like the big, massive ones. But
the big ones are.
Yeah, but there are black holes that are kind of miscellaneous in places where stars have imploded and have created.
Yeah, I had
a small hole
something on that. It's like there's a few types. So there's stellar black holes, which are stars that collapse.
And they're like super stellar.
Yeah, and they need. It seems the smallest one. Is that right? The smallest one we found would be from a star that's about 3 times the mass of our sun.
Right.
So the smaller stars can't do it. But what happens is most stars are made of hydrogen, and then they're creating fusion reactions all the time. They bump into each other, and then you have one. Hydrogen has one atom, or one proton rather, and then when it hits, it combines and it makes helium, and then that keeps happening, and then the helium atoms bump together and creates carbon, and it keeps getting heavier and heavier and heavier with more dense.
See, that's the problem with this stuff. See, I don't know if any of you guys out there listening just got really confused as he kept going on about it. But like some of this stuff, like he starts going, and it's like, cause I've watched a few videos about the research of this stuff, and it just goes wow. They start doing the math and all that stuff.
Well, it's like, do you remember that scene in Indiana Jones when he has that golden idol and it's about this big,
right?
And he like throws it to the kid, and he's like, "Here, catch!" And he just throws it. And if that was made out, because they said it was made out of solid gold. If that was made out of solid gold, do you know how much that would weigh?
I don't know, not much. Gold doesn't weigh that much.
No, it would weigh like 80 or 100 pounds. Gold is actually pretty dense.
Well, I think the reason he probably was able to do it is because of the prop.
Yeah, but because it wasn't made of gold, it was probably made out of like plastic or something that was less dense.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like that star is becoming more and more dense, and all of the atoms in it that are like light and floating around, they start combining and compressing, and it gets heavier, and it actually warps the fabric of space. I was gonna imagine, so like,
but which is hard to think about, like space being like kind of like a fabric.
Yeah. So like here, let's hold out an imaginary sheet.
Oh wait.
Okay. This is perfect. All right. So you imagine you have your star right here.
Yeah.
And it keeps getting heavier. So me pushing down is simulating it getting heavier.
Right. Well, you got like a little weight right there. You can put that weight right there.
Okay.
This is on the shirt.
So this goes
here. Boom.
Here.
You see how that goes in?
Yeah. And you see, like, so if something was over here, it might not be affected by it. Mm-hmm. But as it gets closer, it's going to start falling towards it because this is making like an indentation in your shirt. And that's exactly what happens with stars.
Right. Well, that's like the whole thing with like gravity anyway in space. But like, I guess the idea of a black hole is that it's so much so that it's like there's a hole in the fabric.
Yeah, it's essentially, yes. Like, it might not create a hole like where it punctures, but there are some people that think that that is what happens.
I love that theory, man. Like that, I remember. Now this is a little tip of a tangent, but one of my favorite thing to think about black holes is like we always talk about like the start of the universe and how things began, this, that, and the other. I remember being a kid sitting there thinking, whenever I heard about black holes, I was like, well, what if, like, that's the inlet and where's the outlet?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, where is it going to? What if that's like where another universe is being started?
Yeah. So conventionally, most scientists think that's not what happens.
Right.
Right now, they think like it just gets really, really heavy and it sinks down in there. Like, imagine if I had something really heavy and your shirt couldn't tear, it would go down and you'd see a hole, but you would know that somewhere there would be they call it a singularity, because it's basically, it's not losing mass, but it is losing volume because it's compressing.
Right.
And they think it just compresses infinitely. So you're having like the mass of all these stars compressing into like something the size of an atom.
And that's the idea, I think, because like when you think about the Big Bang, it was a singularity that was infinitely compressed. And
and then went the other way.
Yeah. So why?
So there is, it's called the white hole theory.
Mm-hmm.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I met a girl or two with that nickname.
All right.
So it was this another Russian word that I'm just gonna
let's
or
butcher
Russian name. Igor Novikov.
Where is it?
Igor Novikov.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
I think it's Igor Novikov.
Igor Novikov.
Yeah.
In 1964. So the idea is like, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't really understand.
Sure. Like all of it.
But it's the idea that like time slows down, and time basically ceases to exist once you get down to the singularity, because everything is just compressed and slowed way, way down.
Right.
So he theorized that if there is a place in the universe where no matter or light can escape from, then perhaps in some other universe or some other outlet, there is a place in space where no light or matter can enter, but all this stuff is ejected from.
Right.
But
the secretion place.
He also theorized that scientifically, because a lot of times they will say like time does not exist inside of a black hole and it is the end of time. Mathematically, if that were to happen and the singularity were to resurface somewhere and spew out everything, it would technically have to appear in the past. Which is like, it's weird to think about.
But think about it.
But like technically and mathematically, if that did happen, it would be in the past.
I'm a big fan to the idea that our universe and existence is like, is it cyclical?
Yeah. So
is that the word?
Theoretically, we might be in this loop.
I'm already brain dumb on what we're talking about. So like, is that the word though? Is it cyclical?
That's the word.
That's the word? Okay.
Yeah. There's a cycle.
There's a cycle.
Starts here, ends here, and then it just starts again.
Yeah. Like I love that idea, that concept.
So Stephen Hawking in 1976 theorized that black holes would lose energy and shrink and disappear.
Wait, I think we have a picture of a black hole real quick.
Because it kind of like, it seems like they do. And a lot of people go like, well,
kind of.
It's because there's still matter and energy in there, and like entropy still exists. But there are some people that think like the reasons why a black hole does shrink and will eventually disappear over like trillions of years,
right,
is because it is actually like exiting into another universe, and like all of the millions of suns and stars and matter that it ends up engulfing ends up getting spewed out and creating something else.
Right. Well, if space and time is one thing, I like that idea, like the Novikov guy. Good old Igor.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that is the case, then like it just makes sense that it's like it takes it in, and then since the time and space is disrupted and is no longer a factor, that it comes out during the past and creates that cycle. That just makes a lot of sense to me. But I would like to point out that this picture of a black hole is a artist interpretation.
Yes, most of the photos we have are artist renderings.
Except for one.
Because there's two.
There's two?
We have two.
We have two?
We have two, yeah.
Wow.
One is the first ever photo of a black hole, and one is the one that they took last week.
Yeah.
So, well, what's next on our...
The Event Horizon.
The Event Horizon. Yeah, so we can talk, like, pull that up.
Yeah.
There's this cool... This is an artist rendering that we found, too, but it kind of shows you...
Anytime I hear about the Event Horizon, it reminds me of that movie. Was it Contact?
Dude, when I was looking for stuff, that's all it was like from that video.
Yeah. All right.
So, the event horizon is the theoretical boundary around a black hole which light and radiation cannot escape. So it's like the edge, like right before you go into the maelstrom.
Right.
So like you see like there's a hole, it's like right that edge where it curves down. That's the event horizon.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is there's such a strong gravitational field because, again, like the singular, like what's down in there has like the mass of whole stars and, you know, maybe even galaxies.
Yeah, more than
depending on how big it is.
Sure.
You know? Especially if it's a super massive black hole, it might have like 1 million suns in it.
And then I think that's a Muse song.
Supermassive black hole.
Yeah, because they really had that like with the bass players, like supermassive black hole.
Well, and it's crazy though too because like it might have a couple million stars inside of it, but its radius is like the size of our sun. So, you know, 1 million things are compressed into something.
Right.
It's so how heavy it is. So,
well, the thing you're saying it's like the size of you're saying this
like the radius, like if this was a supermassive black hole that had a few million stars in it, the radius would be about the size of our sun, or maybe like the radius of Mercury's orbit.
Right.
And some of them are big enough to where it's like the radius of our entire solar system.
Well, I know that like one of the common known fact, maybe not till I learned about it, but it's like 4 million times the mass of our sun.
Yeah. So if it was
at least the one in our galaxy is
the one that they discovered, yeah,
like the one that they took a picture of a while back.
The supermassive black hole
is way bigger than ours.
Yeah, because they're definitely like so that would mean there is 4 million stars in it.
Right.
Because the mass would be like the mass is like the weight of it. It's not the volume of it. Yeah. So basically, it's like they're so much heavier than they are wide. Yeah. If that makes sense. So it's like when you pick up something and you're like, God, what's in here? It doesn't seem like it should be that heavy. It's like that where it's like it's only that big. How much can it weigh? And it's like it weighs a shitload. Yeah. So anyway, like it has such a strong gravitational field that it actually like what that artist rendering is. That's actually like when you did the shirt out and you put your finger in it.
Yeah, like it's the curve.
If you take your finger away and you make that whole like that's what that is. And so
wait, I wish people could have saw that. I think he was taking his thing and he's like, no, you take that out.
Yeah.
And like that's what it is.
So anyway, like you can see that it's actually like curving space, which also means if you're curving space, you're also curving time. Yeah. So what ends up happening is there's this weird optical illusion where if we were, you know,
the observer
at a safe distance, and you would see something get closer and closer to that event horizon, and then it would just freeze on the edge.
Sorry, I got the sneeze. I got to press the button.
Don't sneeze on me.
I got to press the button.
Or look at the light and let it out.
I don't want to look at the light.
You look at the light and you let it out.
Does anybody else have that? Like when you got to sneeze, you press the button?
There's a little button. It stops the sneeze?
Yeah, like now I don't have to sneeze.
That's terrible. Why would you stop a sneeze? It feels so good.
Sometimes it doesn't.
It's like edging for sneezing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'll tickle it a little bit more and then like stop it again. Build it up till it's a one big sneeze.
So, I'm going to make sure I'm saving this right. But it's basically the distance that the light has to travel to the observer is steadily increasing. And it's increasing at an infinite amount because it's just going, it keeps going and going.
So like things like on the event horizon, they'll just like, from the observer.
From the observer, they just flatten out. And that's where you get the little ring around the black hole. And that's what actually allows you, that's the visible part of a black hole. Right. But it's actually an optical illusion because those things are no longer there, but they're always going to look like they're there to the observer. Right. And so that's like a really weird phenomenon that occurs with them. So our sun is too small to create a black hole. so it'll probably just blow up.
Sure. I mean, it could make a black hole, but it won't like last very long. Because it was like they in the Hadron Collider where they actually created a black hole. Mm-hmm. They were so small. Like, they want to be able to observe it. 'Cause, again, that's what we've been trying to do as humans. We're like, oh, okay, figure it out.
Like won't take.
But it just goes. Whoop, it just goes away.
So the smallest one is actually, and we haven't taken a picture of it because we just took a picture of the one in our galaxy last week.
Yeah.
But we've kind of seen some black holes in the Milky Way. One of them, it's only 1,500 light years away, which is like seems like it's right next door in the vast scope of how big the universe is.
Which one was it? Which galaxy was it in?
That's in the Milky Way.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Andromeda Galaxy one.
No, that's a different one.
Okay.
This one, they call it the Unicorn because it's in the constellation Monoceros.
Yeah, I've been called that once or twice.
Just the perfect amount of crazy and hot. But I believe that one's, it's relatively small because it's only like the size of 3 of our suns.
Right.
So like the radius of it is actually very, very small as well. But there's an estimated 100 million, possibly up to 1 billion black holes in the Milky Way. We just haven't photographed any of them except one.
Sure.
So in 1971, there was a group of astronomers that were studying the constellation Cygnus. And I think we have
Cygnus.
You can skip over to it.
Yeah, there we go.
And they noticed that like one of the stars in Cygnus was acting really weird, and it actually seemed like it was orbiting something that wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so they kept looking at it, and they actually got an X-ray telescope, and they could see like the X-rays that it was emitting was like forming a funnel and going into this field of nothing. And they went, oh, holy shit, Einstein was right, black holes exist.
Right.
And so they've...
Real quick, because that's what's bizarre about most of the things about black holes, is that like the concept and idea of black holes conceptualized by Einstein.
It was a thought experiment.
It was a thought experiment. It wasn't like... Which... I get into like my whole little... Like... It's like LOA stuff. It makes me wonder...
Did we make black holes?
Did we make black holes?
Yeah, because we were thinking
we
about
thought
them.
it. Because is that... bear with me, guys. Yeah. Yeah. But
Maybe.
That's, man... I'm telling you, things like that happen.
So anyway, so we can go back. So yes, so they did... we can go back to the M87 because this is the first picture that we've ever gotten.
And this is not a firecracker.
Yeah, I was thinking it's bigger than an M80.
Yeah.
It's actually way bigger than an M80.
I have a picture of like that looks like this of Kyle.
So the radius of it is actually like the size of our entire solar system, which means it's got like millions and millions and like maybe even 1 billion stars in it. So like it's really, really heavy.
And where was this one located? Do you remember which galaxy?
I don't remember.
I would think it would be Andromeda.
I think it's
because that's the one that's like on the collision course with us. It's the closest one to us.
I don't know. It said it was an M87.
Yeah.
And so I was just assuming that was the name that they gave the galaxy.
Oh,
so it's
I think it was
M87.
It's like the Sagittarius A. It's whatever 87.
No, Sagittarius A is a different one.
No, I know. I'm saying it's like that. It's not saying that it's the Milky Way galaxy. I'm just saying it's the name of the black hole.
Oh, that's like M87 is the name of the black hole.
Yeah. Because all the galaxies that we know of have names.
Yeah, but we've given
M87.
galaxies like weird names like that. There's a few that have like weird just
IG-88.
IG-88.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure what galaxy is in. I thought what I just found is like this is the M87, the one in M87. I don't know if they're referring to that's what they named the black hole or that's the name of the galaxy.
Yeah.
But it is 50 million light years away.
It's a lot.
So it's like It's really, really far away.
So so does that mean if you were going the speed of the light, you would get there in 50 years?
50 million years.
50 million years.
Yeah.
All right.
50 million years.
And somehow we can see that.
Yeah.
But I think
what's actually happening is we are seeing it what it looked like 50 million years ago.
Yeah.
So like it might be gone. That might have created a whole other universe.
Right.
We don't know. We just know that's what it looked like 50 million years ago. And
that's all we can do.
And tomorrow we'll see what it looked like a day after that.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Well, another thing too, just to kind of point out, is that these aren't actual photographs.
No, this is like, it's like a computer generated photograph. It technically is a photograph.
Yeah. Well,
but it also isn't.
It's an average of the collected data.
Yeah.
Is what it really is.
And I guess like you could say like that's kind of what a photo is. Yeah. Because it's like you're taking optic information.
Yeah.
And then rearranging it so that you can print it out and see it.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's not like they looked into a telescope and went, oh, there it is, like screenshot that. You know, yeah. It's not like a screenshot of a telescope.
Yeah.
They are doing some really cool stuff though, like with this next one, because this happened in 2019. This is only a couple years ago that we got the first ever photograph.
And that's what caused the pandemic.
Yeah, maybe. They're like, everything needs to slow down so we can work on this, guys.
Right. How can we do it? Release the virus.
And like, so obviously like these things are like swirling and moving really fast and they're eating stars and there's a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
But even the really big ones, it takes months to notice any notable change. So what they're hoping to do is NASA said they're developing an algorithm that will like keep an eye on it, but like the astronaut or the physicists don't have to keep an eye on it.
Right.
Like the computer will do it, and then they can go back and check and get months worth of data.
Yeah.
And compile it.
Aaron here says it's all really mind blowing.
It's insane.
It is. You know, it becomes so much. Because I was talking with my brother earlier about we're doing the topic on black holes today, and it was like, because we've heard people say that like we know more about space than we do about like what's underneath the ocean. You've heard that. I don't know if that comparison's actually true, because we know a lot, but I know that we've never ventured to places in the ocean that we can't go. But like when you start talking about all these different numbers and like we observed this and we did this and we did this, it's kind of like, what?
I've heard someone say there's a scale of what we know about the universe would be like taking a cup of water from the ocean and saying like, well, this is what's going on in the ocean.
Right.
So like they say like, well, we haven't found aliens, so aliens must not exist. And it's like, that's like saying, well, there's no octopus or fish in this cup of water, so none of those things exist.
Right.
So I've heard that comparison of like what we know about the ocean versus what we know about space.
Right.
But I know, there's like a lot we don't know about the ocean.
Yeah.
Like I always grew up thinking like, oh, we've explored everything on the planet.
No.
We know, and it's like no, it's like
yeah.
something like a really high percentage.
It's
of the
not
ocean
true.
has not been explored.
It's impossible. There are so many unanswered questions. It's crazy. There's so many unanswered questions about everything. We are humans, and we still have unanswered questions of what that means and what we are. We don't know what the hell we are. Water bags.
Big old water.
Big old water bags on a rock hurling through infinity.
Okay, so last week, NASA took this picture.
This one.
Of Sagittarius A.
Boom! Look at that one though. See, that one's got a little bit more bright yellows around the edges.
And so this one,
probably moving faster.
It is only 27,000 light years from us.
And this is what actually sparked us to do this conversation, do this talk, because it's the first time they took a picture.
They're like, this is in our galaxy,
yeah.
And it's relatively close to us.
Right. And it's that we had a picture, and now we actually have a picture of this, so we're able to compare and go like, yes, black holes look like this, and we were able to like actually. That's the information that got solved from this. Like, okay, yes, They are this.
Also, so this one is like it's big.
Yeah.
How
big
the
is it?
radius of it is the orbit of Mercury around the sun.
Right.
So like that's pretty. That's the radius of it. That's not the mass of it.
Right.
I didn't know what the mass was, but like it's considered a supermassive black hole, which a supermassive black hole can be millions or billions of stars.
And I think to put it into perspective, to take this photo here was the same as if you were to take a photo from Earth of a donut on the moon.
Oh, and that's like that's like what 27. That's what, or what should I say? That's what a star would look like if it was 27,000 light years away.
Yeah, like from our perspective to that, it's like that. It's like trying to take a picture of a donut on the moon.
That's crazy. Which,
like, imagine like you're trying to find a donut.
Yeah.
On the moon.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like, that's what it's like.
And well, also because the radius is about the size of a star.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy to think about that scale.
Yeah.
It's like trying to find a donut.
Yeah, try to find out. And not only that, like our galaxy's so full of like dust and all that stuff. So like they had to
like stuff's in the way.
Yeah, so like how can you take a picture through that? So like I think they were like using like infrared and some like radiology technology to actually get that collected data to come up with the average to get this photo here. And that's maybe why it's so kind of weird looking.
Yeah, you look at it and you're like, that doesn't look like anything.
Like, good job.
And you're like, do you not understand?
Yeah.
There's this thing with the mass of 1,000,000 suns, and it's like right over there.
I know you tried real hard to get it, but I just want to say this photo looks great. Yeah, no, it's weird. I mean, if you think about just the challenges to do it, I mean, part of me, goes like, well, why? Why are you trying to take pictures of it? But I guess it's just, it really...
It could eat you.
Right, yeah.
It could. Eat you and your grandma.
Don't say it. We were talking about this. That's
going
to make it happen.
And your solar system and your...
It's going to make it happen. I don't want to... But no, like, I think it's just like, it's like human ingenuity. Like, we want to have answers. We want to feel like we know all these things or try to have some kind of understanding of it the best we can. And that's why they did it.
Well, I think part of it, too, is it's like, it's really cool looking at fireworks.
Yeah.
And like, you imagine like this is like the biggest firework in the universe,
Yeah.
or that we know of that occurs, where it's like there's this thing that like eats stars.
Yeah.
And then you see all of those stars. Everything it eats, you see forever.
Yeah.
Like it's just
cool. But you wonder like how much money did this take?
Oh, probably like an asinine amount.
And how much world hunger could you solve? I mean, how many times over?
True, but you could take the Elon Musk route and be like, well, if we don't explore space and something happens to our planet,
yes,
then there won't be poor people to save.
I just don't think we're planning on moving to the black hole. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
So there's a couple weird like paradoxes about black holes too.
Yeah.
One, there's a theory that basically like because there's like the event horizon is so like such a hostile environment that nothing could actually pass through it, and it's all just going to get disintegrated. So that is one theory that they think like you just immediately burn up. So black holes might actually just be something else entirely.
Right.
But I know Einstein believed that was not the case. He thinks it's just like everything's relative. So like, yeah, everything around you is getting sucked in, but everything around you is getting sucked in. So you probably wouldn't even notice because like if groups of stars are getting sucked in and in your observable universe, you can't tell a difference.
Well, if we've learned anything, it's that believe what Einstein said.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, well, there's like Einstein said this. Be like, well, yeah, I'll just go with that.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand it, but
so
like,
bizarre.
But Einstein said that, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was his thing. His thing is about like everything's relative. He's like you're spinning at 500 miles an hour right now, and you're traveling at 1,000 miles an hour right now, and the sun is traveling at like tens of thousands of miles an hour, but you're still sitting in the same chair you were yesterday, and nothing moved.
Yeah.
And so I know his idea was like, yeah, like you just go into a black hole, and you probably would never know.
Yeah. We could all be in a black hole right now.
But there's this theory called spaghettification, which is insane.
It's one of my favorite words.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of like really like like up there astrophysicists, they'd be like, no, like going into a black hole would be like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Because it's the idea of all of matter is vertically stretched and horizontally compressed. So you're like turned into a piece of spaghetti when you go down.
Right.
And it would be like extremely painful.
Well, because as soon as your legs go in, they're being pulled so much more than your ankles.
Than the edge, yeah.
And then your knees. And then it's like you're just... And that's what would happen.
And
that's the sound it would make.
So,
I've heard it.
Right. Well, there's no sound in space.
No,
but there might be inside your your
my
helmet.
Yeah, in your helmet. It's just,
like
you just hear, and like that's you being spaghettified.
So I know like there's like two theories of like one is like you go in and it would be like the worst experience ever, and one would be like, well, you're just free falling in space, so it feels like nothing because everything's free falling in space,
right?
So it doesn't feel like anything. But you know what I thought? I thought of like matter's being manipulated somehow. It's like being stretched or pulled, but it's all relative. And it made me think of that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie.
Yeah.
Remember that? And I remember thinking like, what's actually happening?
Like the Honey, We Shrunk the Kids again.
Well, because think about it this way: if he actually shrunk the kids and they were like in the cereal bowl,
right?
Like he would go to pick them up, and but if they still had the same mass, they were just shrunk and condensed. Like that cereal bite would weigh like 120 pounds, and he'd be like, "Why can't I eat this cereal?"
Yeah.
And like they'd be like crawling up on the like curtains and stuff, and then like all of a sudden it would just rip.
Yeah.
You know.
The whole thing.
But then I thought, well, maybe like they're actually like taking out some of the like it correlates like the density, but then that would be like a really painful experience to get shrunk because like the majority of the molecules in your body are just getting like ripped out of you,
right? So
that you can be smaller. So I want to know like what they thought about that.
I don't know.
They didn't think about that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So realistically though, black holes are just weird to think about. Most things, supernovas. Help me out. Name them out. Supernovas. Weird
gamma rays.
This is how smart we are about it.
I heard that
it's interesting to learn about, but a lot of it really just goes over my head. I'm hoping that we could talk about this and make it at least a little bit more digestible.
Well, I know there was, I can't remember his name, but he's like a popular quantum theory physicist.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying like most scientists know the same amount as you do because it's new. Yeah. And the best thing we can do is just talk about it. Even if we don't know about it, if we keep talking about it, like we'll get more ideas. And it's totally fine to try to come up with hypotheses and ideas about stuff you don't know because that's all humans have ever had.
Right.
So it's cool to not know about stuff and be like, hey, let's research this.
Yeah.
And like have fun.
Well, and maybe again it can be a little bit more digestible. I know like most of my research or videos that I watched about it, like the way it was always explained was in ways that I was just like,
it wasn't practical.
Like it's like they want like they understand,
but they don't want you to understand.
It's like they're trying not to make me understand. So I'm like, okay.
Well, I know Einstein said if you can't explain it in under a minute, you don't know it well enough.
Well, this just took about 45.
Yeah. So we don't know shit.
We don't know anything.
So we don't know shit. One of the favorite things that Einstein said about relativity is they were like, what's relativity like? And he was a big thing, he had the idea of like explain it very, very simply, like you're explaining it to a child. And he was like, when you put your hand on a hot stove for a minute, it's just awful. Right. But then when you talk to someone that you're kind of sweet on for a minute, it seems like it goes away really quick. Yeah. It's like relativity.
Yeah. Relativity. All right. Well, I think that wraps up our topic here. But before we get to our wrap up, and I think we got a few black hole jokes.
Yeah, we'll do some black hole jokes.
All right. We want to remind you guys that we have merch available over there on storefrontier.com/Roshambeaux. We've got a bunch of sizes, and the tanks are in. The tanks are in. You can go show off your guns. You can look all cool. I want to get the criminal tank. I know it's not on the picture.
It's not on the display, but it is available.
It is available. I kind of want that one. I'll be wrapping our own shirt. How silly is that? That's silly.
But it says criminal on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't say Roshambeaux.
Yeah, even if you don't like our band.
Like, I kind of want the rattlesnake one. It says Roshambeaux.
It says Roshambeaux on it.
I might just get it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Live
But
a little.
you guys don't have to worry about this.
Yeah.
You can wear it and wrap it with no kind of weird recourse. So go over there and check it out on storefrontier.com/Roshambeaux.
I will say, I do have the RX Lips one.
Yeah.
Because when we first started with Store Frontier, I was like, I want to order one and see what they're actually like.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're good. We had to get a few tests. But we already kind of had a wrap up, so let's do our black hole jokes.
Okay. All right. I haven't really
We have a
vetted any of these, but some of them are funny. We'll see. So how did the black hole lose so much weight?
How?
It's simple. He ate light.
Ate light. It's a thing.
If you have been unimpressed by the first picture of the black hole, you clearly don't understand the gravity of the situation.
Oh. Funny.
I like that one.
That one's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Why are none of these black hole jokes going to be very good?
I don't know.
Because they all suck.
Ah.
Why do planets want to date black holes?
Why?
Because they're so attractive. This is a good one. How can you tell? How can you tell if a black hole is vegan?
How?
Because I only eat planets.
I only eat planets.
Let's find one more.
That's like the most dad of the dad jokes.
That's my favorite one, though.
Yeah, I know. Oh, ridiculous.
So you need to be really careful on Google when you type in giant black hole pics.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
Because you're probably just going to get a bunch of scientific articles.
All right. And before we go, man, let's remind everybody to go check out patreon.com/Roshambeaux. Man, you guys are the reason why we're able to do this. You guys are the reason why we do these vlogs, the reason why we make the music videos, the reason why we're working on new songs, do the backstage stuff. You guys inspire us every day. Even for as little as $1, it goes a long way. We give you shout outs. You get like early access to merch and all that kind of stuff. And you can do the $5 and get it on the request and be a part of that whole deal. And then a little bit more, you have different tiers that do different things. So you can go over there and check it out on patreon.com/Roshambeaux. Thank you beforehand for going and looking at it, because you guys are awesome. So thank you. That's going to do it for us, man. Black holes. Black ones. And their holes.
Sun.
Won't you come?
I put that on our thing. I was like, won't you come?
Yeah, won't you come?
We're talking about black holes.
And I know it's a little light here tonight, man, but make sure, if you guys made it this far, make sure you leave this little comment down there. And I think last week we said we were going to be here, or not last week, but the week before we said we were going to be back.
Yeah,
but we weren't.
I wasn't able to make it.
Kyle messed it up. I promise I won't let him mess up anymore. I'm not going to take on that responsibility, I guess. I probably should just be like,
oh, that's like,
it's awful.
That's going to be like hell.
Yeah.
That might be your personal hell, is like you died for eternity. You're like, you have to make sure Kyle doesn't fuck up.
Yeah. But we should be back here next Thursday doing this hanging out, man. So thank you guys who did tune in. And just remember, we'll be back next Thursday. So until then, we will see you guys soon. And hopefully this weekend at in Dahlonega. So until then, you guys take care. Love you guys.